Welcome everyone to Importance of Philosophy Part 13. As usual, I'll be reading mostly verbatim from the website importanceofphilosophy.com. The information is copyrighted by Jeff Landauer and Joseph Rollins, and the video was made by me with their permission. We start today with the topic harmony of interests. With the proper understanding of one's interests, it can be seen that there is a harmony of interests between rational men, that we benefit enormously from positive interactions with others. This benefit comes in the form of the abundance of wealth made possible by a capitalism, to the continuing increase of knowledge available to mankind. It comes in the form of friendships, romantic love, and the support of one's family. The harmony of interests bring men together in peaceful cooperation to benefit their lives. This is the bedrock of society. It is why people choose to live in a society. Although the desires of men may be opposed, their interests are not. Living in a peaceful society is of incalculable benefit to man. Any possible advantage gained from living outside of a peaceful society is insignificant compared to the loss. For instance, living in a wilderness may bring you more peace and quiet, but it is at the expense of friendships and the enormous material wealth possible in a society. The harmony of interests only exists between rational men. Irrational men and the use of force are not in the interests of other men. Men's interests are only in harmony with peaceful voluntary interactions. Only when men live by the trade or principle do their interests unite. Only when men accept persuasion and trade do they become a benefit to other men. Our next topic is independence. Independence, or self-reliance, is the virtue by which you are self-supporting in the sense that you consume nothing that you haven't earned. In a market economy, everyone lives by trade. This does not make independence impracticable. The virtue of independence is to provide one's own means of subsistence. This means either producing it directly or indirectly by creating something that someone else wants. Dependence, in this case, would mean relying on charity or favors from friends or family. Or worse, theft in the form of direct stealing from others, or indirect theft through benefits by government. Independence is not only applicable to production though. In fact, production isn't even the most important place where this virtue should be practiced. The most important is the independence of one's mind. Life requires man to act in order to achieve his values. This requires the proper use of judgment to not only pick the right values, but to understand the best way of achieving them. To substitute another's thoughts for yours makes it impossible to judge the accuracy of them. It makes it impossible to build off of them to achieve better understanding. This is the area where independence is most critical. To default on one's responsibilities is to default on one's life. The degree to which one abandons his intellectual independence is the degree to which he is helpless to act. The degree to which he cannot pursue his own life and values. Another area where independence is useful is in social interaction. When dealing with friends or strangers, one needs to earn the benefit of the interaction. To default on this is to accept a reward without cause. Nothing is ever free though. By accepting the unearned, a man loses his grasp of what it means to earn something. He loses his assurance of his own self-efficacy. Every independent act is a reaffirmation of one's ability to deal with reality. Every unearned gift is a blow to one's confidence. Our next topic for this video will be productiveness. Benjamin Franklin said, quote, "Sloth makes all things difficult, but industry, all things easy," end quote. Man must achieve values in order to live. Productiveness is the virtue of achieving values. It is the fullest use of one's mind in seeking and achieving those values. Its primary use is in the creation of wealth. To live, men need physical wealth, meaning food, shelter, etc., in order to survive. Wealth beyond the minimums is necessary to hedge against the uncertain future. The more wealth created and saved, the better chances one has of survival. Productiveness is the virtue of creating this wealth. It is directly responsible for the forwarding of one's life. Productiveness in a market economy doesn't mean the direct creation of goods. It means the earning of goods through the creation of value. By trading goods or services, one enables the creation of wealth by others for one's own use. Trading is a kind of productiveness. it is another method of practicing productiveness. The result and aim is the same, though: the creation of wealth. Productiveness is also applicable in other aspects of one's life. In social relationships, for instance, it is possible to create value. And even outside of material wealth, one can be productive by achieving values. Productiveness then isn't dependent on producing physical goods. It consists of producing values for oneself. A last note on productivity is that it must be profitable to be called productive. This means the cost of doing something must be less than the value achieved by doing it. In this respect, many acts can be considered non-productive after the fact. Mere profitability, or the gaining from an act, is not sufficient for productivity, though. The virtue of productivity means achieving the most one can achieve. Working at a fast food restaurant is not productive if one has the ability and opportunity to be a brain surgeon. Spending one's resources, time, and effort on a lesser value when one could achieve a higher value is not productive. And our last topic for this video will be integrity. Integrity is the virtue of practicing what one preaches. Or more importantly, practicing what one believes is right. A man of principle is not a man who understands a principle, but a man who understands, accepts, and lives by a principle. There are many reasons why integrity is a virtue. The first and most important reason to practice one's beliefs is that, if they are right, you will be benefiting your own life. To understand other virtues or principles, and not act by them, is destructive. It is an act against your own best interest. Any deviation from what you know to be right is an attack on your own life. The second reason to practice integrity is that it is an affirmation that your ideas benefit your life. To act contrary to your own knowledge is accepting the premise that morality is somehow different from your own self-interest, and that bypassing morality will somehow make your life better. Instead of seeing morality as a tool for survival, you see it as restriction that makes life more difficult. Every act that violates your integrity weakens the moral habit until your emotions are unaligned with your thoughts. Further, it is an attack on the efficacy of one's mind. To act against your own ideas is to claim your own incompetence, or to claim the general inadequacy of reason to guide your life. Since reason is your means of survival, you will be abandoning your life. A third reason to practice integrity is in dealing with others. A man who practices what he preaches is predictable, and few will feel threatened by it. Trust can develop, since others will come to realize you are consistently virtuous. To act without integrity, even occasionally, will leave others distrustful. This can negatively impact one's life in a number of ways. People won't allow themselves to become emotionally close to you. They won't trust that you'll pay back debts. They'll always fear your betrayal. Thanks for joining me. See you next time.